And meantime, the 2 Americans now being treated for Ebola here in the U.S. are showing more signs of improvement this morning. But now there are new concerns in Africa that deadly disease is spreading and spreading fast. NBC's national correspondent Kate Snow has the latest for us from Atlanta, where the American patients are being treated. Kate, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. Nancy Writebol and Dr. Kent Brantly are both waking up in the same isolation unit here this morning. This as Nancy Writebol's 2 sons were waiting for her here in Atlanta, tremendously relieved when she got off that plane. One son saying he just needed to be with mom.
This was the world's first glimpse of Nancy Writebol as she was wheeled into an isolation unit on a stretcher, encased in protective gear. Her husband, David, was watching on Skype, still in Liberia. The head of the relief organization she works for came to be with her in Atlanta.
Nancy has arrived safely. Let me just take a pause here. And Samaritan's Purse and SIM are so grateful.
Writebol is a personnel director, but when Ebola hit, it was all hands on deck. She would spray down the hazmat suits doctors like Kent Brantly wore when they treated patients. Johnson says he doesn't know how either of them got sick.
For her to be on a stretcher is not an indication, of where she is with Ebola. It's an indication she is very, very weak.
Still, she has walked and ate a yogurt before boarding the plane home, and that may be thanks to an experimental therapy. ZMapp is actually grown inside modified tobacco plants in Kentucky. Other Ebola patients haven't had access to it, and the epidemic is only getting worse, leading British Airways to temporarily suspend flights to and from Liberia and Sierra Leone. Delta advised passengers flying out of Liberia and into Nigeria to allow extra time for health screenings. Experts are very worried by the spread of Ebola to Nigeria, one of the most populated countries on earth.
I think that we started our remedy or preventive measures rather a bit late.
A Liberian American who died of Ebola after flying to Nigeria was not immediately quarantined. And now more people who had contact with him have symptoms.
And this morning we're learning about a Spanish priest who may be treated for Ebola in Spain. That would be the first time that Europe has dealt with an Ebola patient. Part of the reason that these 2 Americans wanted to come here for treatment is to help researchers who study Ebola in the hopes that maybe one day, Savannah and Matt, it would lead to a cure.
All right, Kate Snow in Atlanta for us. Thank you.